This week's Q&A is brought to you by ButcherBox.
In the middle of the scavenger hunt, I did get iced, so that was a nightmare.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yes. We just don't know much about her. Can you not? You're distracting me.
Who, me?
In general, have a very... I'm trying to be very serious here. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Star Wars Explained Weekly Q&A. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
And we're going to be answering mostly Skeleton Crew questions today. Got a Life Day question or two thrown in the mix as well, because it is the season.
'Tis the season.
Hail Santa.
Yes, hail Santa. Do you think I should wear this to your parents' house on Christmas?
Probably not. But before we get into that, what'd we get up to this weekend?
We went off to a far, far away place.
Called Blue Ridge.
In a town not so galactic. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm still getting over a cold because we were at a cabin over the weekend and I was sick.
Yeah, we went and hung out at a cabin with our friends every year. Like 20 of us get a cabin. We go up into the mountains and just party for 3 days straight.
It used to be more part. Now it's like a lot of board games, a lot of...
For 35 to 40-year-olds, it's a party.
Well, how many 40-year-olds are there?
One of them's getting close.
Well, we did a couple of fun new things this year. We had a couple of people do like PowerPoint presentations of whatever they wanted to present, which was pretty funny.
PowerPoint party, dad joke competition, Mario Kart.
Mario Party?
Regular board games.
One morning I woke up and they were just playing a bunch of Taylor Swift music videos on the TV in the living room, and I learned a lot of Taylor Swift lore, which was cool.
There was like a Taylor Swift explained corner going on.
We had a Secret Santa, we had a white elephant gift exchange, which is like I would say that's the big highlight.
It can take a while with our group of friends, though, because we have added drinking rules to the stealing and everything, so... with 20 people, it's a long white elephant exchange.
Yeah, people are really pushing their limits the older we get with the drinking rules part. I think we're going to have to incorporate some extra rules to keep that at a minimum.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise. But I did walk away with... Where'd I put it? That's it.
You got a fitting gift.
Yeah, I did walk away with something called a dream cubby, which is some sort of decoration I'll have to break out and put here, but there's like a Millennium Falcon, there's a Death Star. I think it like just lights up shapes, various Star Wars shapes, but that I just happened to open that out of a gift bag. It was one of a random choice, and I was like, oh, perfect, and no one took it from me. They knew that was unwise.
Yeah. Funny how that stuff always seems to find us.
Yeah. Last year I got an Indiana Jones board game.
My gifts always get stolen, and as much as I wish I could go shot for shot with some of our friends, I cannot. So I end up picking a bunch of random new gifts. This year I ended up with a locked box with a scavenger hunt, which admittedly was really fun and exciting. Inside the locked box ended up being it looks kind of like a puffer pig, but it's a capybara.
The scavenger hunt was great.
Yeah.
I wound up fighting for that for you. I took the drinks in your stead, but that was fantastic. I was really happy about that. Although in the middle of the scavenger hunt, I did get iced, so that was a nightmare.
I forgot about that. Way to add insult to injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We do it every year with our friends, and it was a much needed kind of mid-season break for us while covering Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, it's interesting. Usually that is kind of like my stopping point, and then that feels like the start of winter break. It's interesting to come back and be like, well, straight back to work. It's still busy season for us.
It'll be interesting the next 2 weeks covering the show with Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
But bear with us. You know, we're human and we would like to celebrate holidays too.
I think we talked about this on the stream, but I'll reiterate, and I talked about it on the review, but I think the normal review will come out on the normal day. The after show coming week will probably be on Thursday. I'm really not sure what's going to happen on New Year's because we host a New Year's Eve party.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what state I'll be in on New Year's Day. So we'll see. We'll see. The review will get done.
Yeah.
It's just a question of when. But let's get into some Skeleton Crew questions. And our very first one is from Rick Villanueva, who asks, is there a massive gun on top of the school on At Attin?
Yes.
Yes.
And Neil is the only one who knows where it is.
Yeah. Honestly, like that feels like quite literally the biggest Chekhov's gun
Yeah,
we've
literally.
seen in the show. They're doing a good job, I think, at setting things up, even without us knowing it. I still love the simplicity of SM33 saying, can't say I remember no At Attin, when he literally cannot say it.
Can't do it.
And combining that with Fern's, oh yeah, I override my mom's droid's memory all the time. Like, those two things coming together were great. So I feel like this is the kind of show that is setting things up to come back. And this feels like a very obvious one.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure if no one on At Attin knows that that's up there, but I'm taking a wild guess and saying, yes, I think that gun is on every At planet, maybe. And so, yes, there'll be one on At Attin on the top of the school. I think it would be funny if no one really knew about it, except now Neil knows about it. Or maybe the supervisor knows.
Yeah, I get the sense that the regular citizens, the everyday people, Wim, probably even Farah, I don't think they know about it. Probably whoever is in charge, and we're going to talk about the supervisor as well. Whoever's in charge of At Attin, I think they probably know. I think they have all the secrets on lockdown, but Neil knows. And so if they get back to At Attin and the pirates are coming, he's going to be like, follow me, crank.
I have a secret. I know where something big is.
I think I made the joke that like all the principal of the school probably thought, oh, I thought it was a telescope or something. It's an observatory for the school. We just never use it.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, to think about that. And are there more of those? Do they have like this insane, like military backup system that in case something does happen, there's giant guns on top of all the buildings?
Everywhere. Could be.
It's interesting.
I guess they didn't have to mention this. I feel like the Troiks would have found other guns if that were the case, but who knows? Maybe that is their only one. But yeah, I think we're going to find out more when we learn about the supervisor, that maybe there are extra defenses. It's just to everyone there, they have no clue. Speaking of the supervisor, Gingerger30 asks, is the supervisor even real? Has Farah ever met them? So like Farah's an undersecretary, I think was her title, and she says, I'm going to go talk to the supervisor about this. But yeah, has she ever come face to face with the supervisor? Or is it, you keep bringing up Wizard of Oz connections. Does she go and meet with a hologram or something?
I do think this is a very Wizard of Oz thing with the big tower and everything. And yeah, there may or may not be the man behind the curtain, but I don't really think anyone has officially met the supervisor. Maybe there's like a hologram that they're speaking with that is a program, or, the supervisor itself could be some old hologram, or it could be some AI or some program that the droids are just running to keep this planet running. Yeah, I don't know.
I have the same vibe, just that Farah has probably met someone she thinks is the supervisor, not necessarily like we've been in the same room and shaken hands, but it reminds me of that Clone Wars episode that also kind of riffed on Wizard of Oz, where I think C-3PO and R2-D2 come across a civilization that's being controlled by, I think, pit droids, which was very Wizard of Oz. So yeah, I do think they're kind of building up to that. You've mentioned all of the parallels with Wim. He doesn't need a brain, he just needs to learn how to use it.
Yeah, I'm still working on who's who in this situation, but I think we can confidently say that Neil was going to be the cowardly lion who now has worked up to building up a little more courage. And then, yeah, we were talking about Wim maybe being more of this scarecrow.
He just does things without thinking.
Yeah,
that's it.
He will find his brain. Tin Man is interesting because I'm thinking between KB and Fern, they both kind of show some elements of the Tin Man needing a heart. Fern more so because she's got this like tough outside where she's gonna act really tough and intimidating.
And she's kind of mean to Wim and Neil at first, and KB is like, you don't have to be so mean all the time.
So she could use a heart, so to speak, to be a little more empathetic and nice. But KB, we still don't know much about her. She, at times, can act a little bit more cold and robotic, but she has chimed in several times to be like, you didn't have to be so mean.
Right.
So I think she is more empathetic, but she could also have a little bit of that Tin Man role. I also have this crackpot theory that maybe her medical problem or her medical emergency that we might see at some point could be heart related. It could be like a heart murmur or something, which is really sad to think about. But when I was trying to assign the different labels, Tin Man, Lion, Scarecrow to these kids, I was like, oh, what if KB's is like literally something could be wrong with her heart?
Yeah, KB is still like, that's my probably main criticism of the show right now, is that we just don't know much about her. Can you not? You're distracting me.
Who, me?
Yeah, I would say my main criticism of the show right now is that we still don't know that much about KB, what she wants. I like her, and I like the little character moments we do get with her, but I could also see maybe some Scarecrow in her, in the sense that I can't remember if it was in our comments or on Reddit, but someone pointed out that moment where she kind of like freezes and just watches the Aton come in and Fern has to pull her in. Like, what if it's not a heart condition, but a brain condition? And that's where the life alert, not the life alert, but the monitor is.
Yeah. And I don't want to lean too much into there's something wrong with KB, because I don't think that. I think she's perfect the way she is. But since we heard one of her moms mention the medical emergency potentially, that's just been on my mind. It could also be kind of a tech situation where she is a little bit more on the neurodivergent side, and something about the visor kind of helps her out with that, because she did have it on the entire time in this episode.
I do like that about her, that the visor is very much like a not a safety blanket, but something like that, where it makes her feel comfortable. When she's around Fern, everything's fine, her visor's up. But then when the bullies show up, visor down. When she's looking at the cute little fuzzball on Port Borgo, visor up. Droid comes at her, immediately visor down. She kind of does the same thing with Jod, where I think like he comes in and she was trying to sleep and the visor was up and it goes down. Anyway, yeah, I just see that as like a piece of security for her.
Today's video is brought to you by ButcherBox, a monthly subscription service that delivers high-quality, sustainably sourced, and hormone-free proteins like grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, pork-raised crate-free, and wild-caught seafood straight to your door, making it easy to enjoy premium cuts and healthier meals at home. You can choose a variety of meats and cuts to fit your preferences and dietary needs. They might not have bantha or nuna, but they do have beef, chicken, pork, and seafood, all responsibly raised right here on Earth. ButcherBox is committed to humanely raised meat with no added hormones or antibiotics. Whether you're grilling on the weekend or looking for a special meal to impress family and friends, ButcherBox has the protein for you. Right now, enjoy a limited time promotion that gives you free ground beef in every box for the lifetime of your subscription. A rare opportunity to elevate your meals now and into 2025. New users that sign up will receive 2 pounds of grass-fed and grass-finished ground beef in every box for the lifetime of their subscription. Be sure to use my link in the description and use my code EXPLAIN20 to get 2 pounds of ground beef for the entirety of your subscription, plus $20 off your first box. This offer expires soon, so don't miss out.
Madman's Knowledge asks if SM-33's old captain is one of the skeletons on the ship, or are they still alive? And I wanted to bring this up because when we were on Resistance broadcasts after show, Galactic Goonies, John Hoey brought up the idea that the captain could be the supervisor, which, if he is a very long-lived species, I guess is possible.
Or, yes, I don't know how that would fit in, but I did like the idea that he came up with, that maybe the reason why the ship was buried like it was that when the captain got to At Attin, he buried it on purpose to like hide it, but in a spot where he could get back to it if he needed to, and then somehow became the supervisor. But I don't necessarily think that. I guess I was under the assumption that the captain was one of the dead guys that was stabbed.
I am too. I kind of think the captain is the one that was pinned to the wall and Jod took the blade out. That's just a complete guess. If it's not him, it's probably one of the other skeletons. I think that if the captain found the way to At Attin, killed everyone else that was in that room, and then made it back to the ship, the rest of the pirates that were on the ship may have been like, well, that's not cool.
Right.
And then there was a mutiny.
Yeah.
And then maybe all that chaos caused the crash. That's my current guess.
I mean, yeah, the captain at this point could be anyone.
Do you think Neil is the captain? Secret evil all along.
Well, I wonder, though, that if SM33 would be able to be like, yep, that was the captain. He's dead now, I guess.
Yeah, he does seem... I mean, the rat ate his brain, so
Yeah.
we don't know. He was very easily tricked by Fern that she's like, I killed the captain. Or maybe he did see the stabbed skeleton and was like, oh, yeah, I guess she did stab him.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
It's another just big mystery that is kind of along parallel to the At Attin mystery.
Yeah, this show does have a lot of fun mysteries, and I feel like they're doing a good job at solving some along the way, introducing more like King No Head. That feels like something else that could come back. But yeah, I'm into all of it.
We still don't know when SM33 and the captain and the crew landed on At Attin and all that went down, but I just don't think the captain of that ship could have landed on At Attin and then become the supervisor there. I don't see how that would line up. And plus that would have had to have been a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that's very unlikely. And I think that all of this happened, we don't have confirmation that it was the capital O, capital R Old Republic, even though they did capitalize it in the subtitles when Kim was talking about the jewels of the Old Republic. So I'm hopeful that like SM33 is an over 1,000-year-old droid, and all of that happened a long, long time ago. But yeah, we don't know yet.
We know, according to StarWars.com, it said that it had been decades since At Attin had been destroyed like that.
Yeah. So, and I don't know whether or not to take that literally from the episode trivia guide.
Right. And you said the Old Republic spanned how long?
Like 20,000 years.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big timeline.
Yeah. Obi-Wan Kenobi asks if there are any Jedi temples or outposts or anything Jedi at all on At Attin, and what do the people of At Attin know about the Order? I don't think there's anything Jedi on that planet.
Yeah, the only thing that maybe makes me think there might be is there's a part of some of the artwork, the mural in Fern's house, and like off to the side of the doorway, it looks like there's a character like holding a lightsaber. So that's really the only thing that makes me think maybe, and I guess Wim's storybook, but
Right.
But nothing else has really led me to believe that there could actually be a Jedi temple.
I get the sense that the people of At Attin believe that there were once Jedi, but they have never met one. And so to them, it's kind of like, Wim is reading storybooks as if he were reading about King Arthur. It's like a legend, a kind of historical fantasy that, like, there were knights in that time period, but was King Arthur real or not? We don't really know. Was it based on a real person? So that's kind of the vibe I get, that Wim wants to be a knight. And that's why it's kind of funny to all of them. Like, no one does that anymore. That's so old, which isn't true. They just don't know it.
It's like kids in real life here on Earth being like, yeah, I want to be a superhero.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
And it's like, well, that's not really a real thing.
That's not a profession.
Yeah.
That is a much better way to put it, is that Wim is like, I want to be a superhero with a cape on and everything. Like, but yeah, I do think
you can be an actor and then maybe be one.
Yeah. I do think that at one point they believe, yes, Jedi did travel the galaxy, but that was a long time ago. So to them, I think that is long faded into legend. Our last question for the week is seasonally appropriate because John B. Hall asks if Life Day is celebrated across the galaxy or is it just a Wookiee thing? It depends on when in the timeline you're asking that question. So I think this is kind of connected to Batu and Galaxy's Edge and the fact that they sell Life Day stuff there, like the little orb. But the idea is that it was initially a Wookiee holiday, as we see in the holiday special, but after the rise and fall of the Empire and everything, the galaxy just kind of wanted something to celebrate. They were like, we want in on Life Day. And the Wookiees were like, we're cool with that. Just like, it's a celebration of life and being grateful for your family and everything. They probably were like, but don't come to our life tree and like crowd art. That's ours.
Yeah. There have been instances of like other holidays in other places that may not have been just for specific species or planets, but I know in Young Jedi Adventures they had kind of their own version of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that was on like one specific planet, and I can't remember if it was Harvest Day or Gomgord Day. I know that was the vegetable that they really liked to eat there.
It was basically a gourd, and it was like very similar to what we use for decoration on Thanksgiving.
Exactly. I will say, now that you bring up Young Jedi Adventures, the season 2 Life Day episode was delightful this year. I know a lot of people haven't seen Young Jedi Adventures because it's for like 6-year-olds, but we have watched every episode. And for what it is, I think it is really sweet. And the Life Day episode is about a bunch of Trandoshans trying to ruin Life Day for Wookiees, but one of them brings like their little nephew along, and he's the sweetest little Trandoshan boy who's like, this is wrong, and he saves Life Day for all the Wookiees, and I love that little kid.
Aww.
I can't remember his name, but I want him and Churro the Hutt to team up and just be like the sweetest Hutt and Trandoshan hanging around.
They're going to change lives.
They're going to change the galaxy.
They're going to inspire the new generations of those species to not be bad.
Genuinely, I want to watch, when we sit down and just do like our Christmas movie day, I want to take, like 7 minutes, 10 minutes and watch that little Life Day episode again.
Yeah.
It was so cute. So that's all the time we have today for questions, but I did want to point out that next week's Q&A is going to be a little different. Molly had this idea and I really liked it. Since it is the end of the year and the last Q&A of 2024, we were going to do superlatives. So we want to ask you to leave your superlatives in the comments. We have asked our patrons to do the same. Basically like something you would find in the back of a yearbook, like most popular or best hair Hauser. Something
give
like
it
that.
away.
I mean, everyone knows. I'm just giving examples. You can't argue with that.
Class clown.
Yeah.
What are some other ones?
Most likely to succeed, but you don't have to stick to yearbook things. Like it can be like most dramatic death or just
Best scream.
Yeah, best scream. That's a good one. I'll write that one down. But if you have any serious or goofy superlatives, leave them down in the comments. Same with Patreon. Our weekly Q&A post will explain all of that. I was also going to point out that we're going to start to change the format of this Q&A. We're still going to answer questions, but I think we are going to make it more of like a recap of the week, talk about news, talk about like the comics or books or episodes, whatever came out in the week before.
It's going to be a little bit more of a podcasty feel or / format, a little more chatty.
Kind of like we've eased into the past year.
Yeah, it'll be a recap, like you said, of everything that happened in Star Wars in the past week.
But we are still going to take questions, take them from our Patreon. And that reminds me that we need to give a shout out to Jacob Lightspeed, who joined our Patreon at the Jedi Council level this past week. So thank you, Jacob. We look forward to having you. But I think that's it. So everyone have a very happy Life Day. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy holidays in general. Have a very...
I forgot he only puts 2 of his arms up and not just one. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to be very serious here. I'm trying to wrap up the show, and you're breaking things.
I'm the only one that's tried to repair this thing so that it doesn't keep doing that.
Yeah, because you keep breaking it. But if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and TikTok.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.